That sexual trends survey conducted among youths by the Ghana Responsible Parenthood Association has not only revealed the percentage of sexual activities and rape among teens, but it also shows that while almost half of the country's youths aging 14 to 25 are sexually active, they are far from being well aware of how to deal with sexual mishaps and consequences like sexually transmitted diseases and pregnancy.
Over half of all the youth who were sexually active said that they had gotten an STD test at some point in time. Not so good about that is that most of the youth were conflating STI with HIV. So meaning that when they say they had gotten STI testing, they really meant they had gotten an HIV test. Now we know there are lots of other STIs. HIV is just, the one that most of the attention and awareness is around.
That was women's rights activist Shirlene Najir, who spearheaded the survey and presented the findings on behalf of the GRPA. She explained, in the presence of Public Health Minister Dr. George Norton, that some of these findings are quite troubling and needed much attention. One such area is of teenage pregnancy, which continues to be a worry for the country.
A third of all the sexually active youth had either been pregnant if they were female or gotten their partner pregnant if they were male. So a third, more than a third, 36%. That's a big number.
There have been countless reports in the news of teenagers giving birth to babies at public health institutions across the country. While the GRPA survey did not include persons younger than 14, there are records to show that a large number of preteens between the ages of 10 to 13 are becoming pregnant. What is worrying about this is that many of them are victims of rape and sexual violence, issues that continue to be under the microscope.
The majority of the youth who had gotten pregnant carried the pregnancy to term, so they kept the baby.
Najir explained that over a quarter of the young women who had gotten pregnant were not very knowledgeable about the many different measures they could have used in order to prevent the pregnancy.
So they had had sex, they had gotten pregnant, they had either had a baby or had an abortion, but they still didn't know. They still said they didn't know about birth control. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen to them if they keep on having sex?
There are many teenagers across the country who are parents of 2 or even 3 children. Some of them were forced to drop out of school and work, while others, with the backings of their wealthier parents, are afforded the opportunity to go back to school.
What that tells us is that the ones who delivered a baby, right? That's usually happening not at home. It's usually happening at a hospital or with the intervention of some healthcare provider. So that tells me, at least, that somebody's not doing their job enough in educating the young pregnant girl about what she needs to do to not get pregnant again or until she wants to.
Public Health Minister Dr. George Norton rebutted.
So often, many a times, persons tend to think that the Ministry of Health is the solution or can find the solution.
Norton went on to stress that issues like suicide, sexual and domestic violence, and teenage pregnancy need to be dealt with on a national level, with more gynaes at the grassroots level becoming more involved in the fight against these scourges. Meanwhile, Najir highlighted that the survey also found the need for teens to have easier access to condoms and birth control pills at public health institutions.